Hey now, what is up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and I am here to talk about Star Wars. And I know some people might be thinking, wait a minute, didn't you do reviews for all of the Star Wars movies a few years ago? Yes I did, but when I recently went back and looked at the videos, they weren't terrible, but I thought they could be better. It was my old camera, the video and audio quality, I thought I could do a better job. Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, it came out in 1977. It was written and directed by George Lucas. And the plot is, we see at the very beginning, the opening scrolls, that the rebels have successfully stolen the plans for the Death Star. So the Imperials and Darth Vader himself are on a mission. They're on a rampage. They're going across, destroying as many people as they can to find out where these plans are. They kidnap Princess Leia. So these two androids, R2-D2 and C-3PO, they wind up on the planet Tatooine, and they find Luke Skywalker. And Luke is very young. He's very almost naive to everything that's going on. But with the help and guidance of Obi-Wan Kenobi, they go, and with Han Solo and Chewbacca, they go to try to save the princess and stop the Alliance. Now, what I think of Star Wars A New Hope is, I love this movie. I do. And it's funny because I'm not one of those people who grew up on Star Wars. I didn't see my first Star Wars movie until I was maybe 10 years old, and it was The Phantom Menace in the theater. So yeah, I didn't watch these movies beforehand. In fact, I didn't watch the original trilogy till I was in my 20s. So yeah, I definitely came late to the game, but that doesn't stop me for when I first saw it and I fell in love with these characters. I fell in love with the story. I fell in love with this world. And even rewatching it so many times later, I think I've watched it so many times since then, I've almost made up for those loss of years. But what I love about this movie is just the way it starts. At the very beginning, seeing Vader and his presence, and him with the stormtroopers causing mayhem on that ship, and the fact that for the first 20 minutes or so, we follow C-3PO and R2-D2 as the main characters, essentially, because they're the ones who have Leia's message. They're the ones who escape this going on. They're the ones who wind up on the planet and find Luke Skywalker. And following them for those few minutes is interesting because I think that's what gets the kids automatically with this. You know, you meet these two sort of goofy characters at the very beginning, very friendly characters with all of the scariness and craziness going on with Vader. So I think that works, but also it gets the families involved and the technology, the special effects that I think they use, the practical effects, it still holds up today. So it's not like parents might be watching this and saying, oh, this looks silly or goofy. You kind of get sucked up into it, get sucked up into this world. And that's where you meet Luke Skywalker, who is played by Mark Hamill. And Mark Hamill, I think some people might say that, especially in this first movie, Luke is a little whiny. And I get that. Some scenes you get that. But he's supposed to be like 17 or 18 years old. You get it. And also, he wants so much more out of life. He doesn't want to just be stuck on this farm and not doing anything. He wants to get out there. He wants to do more. His uncle's sort of keeping him back because he knows his destiny. He knows what he's supposed to be doing. So at least there's that for the character to get behind. But when he meets Obi-Wan Kenobi, played by Alec Guinness, great actor, by the way, and I love how the character is secluded. He's off on his own. And he's the one who teaches Luke everything. He's the one, like the scene where he's telling him about the backstory, telling him about what happened to all the Jedis and the Force and how Vader killed his father. You're hearing him tell these stories and saying, wow, I want to know more about that. I want to see movies based on those old tales because they sound so fascinating. We eventually got movies, but it was a lot better hearing him talk about these movies, and when Luke is asking questions, we're with him, we're in his point of view because, again, we want to know more. And that's where they go off, and especially when Luke finds out that his aunt and uncle were killed like burnt alive. You see that for a PG movie, they're able to get away with a lot of like messed up, disturbing images. And that's where they meet Han Solo and Chewbacca. Han Solo played by Harrison Ford, and there's a reason why Han Solo, everybody says and cites him as being their favorite character. For me, Luke Skywalker is a close second, because I love our hero's journey. I love his story of going from here and ending up there. But yes, Han Solo is the guy. He is the character that you love the most. You love to watch the most because he is so funny. He is so charismatic. He is so cool and suave. He's the guy that you would want to be on a planet like this, in a life like this. The fact that he is a smuggler, he is a guy for hire, he does everything for money, he's out for himself. All of that might not sound like good qualities, but you understand it in this world. And two, I like his arc. I like that he goes from not really caring about the situation, about these people and what's going on, and slowly over time he does feel for them. He says he's doing it for the reward and the money, but you could tell he means well. You could tell he does come around. You get some added scenes, especially around this bar with CGI aliens around the place, and George Lucas did that for whatever reason. Does it suck? It mostly sucks because we can't physically, at least it's hard to physically find the original copies, the original cuts, without this editedness, without this added stuff in there. Especially the whole whether Han Solo shot first thing. It's clearly edited in a weird way so that he doesn't shoot first, but to me, he does shoot first. And then you get that extra scene of Jabba the Hutt. And I think it's cool to get yet another scene with young Harrison Ford, young Han Solo interacting with Jabba. But I do like the idea better of just hearing Jabba mentioned, of just like, we know he's out there, we know that Han owes him a lot of money, and we don't meet Jabba till the third movie. I think that was kind of a better setup. But for what it is, it's not the worst addition that they could have made. It really isn't the worst thing ever. It's just, it is what it is. Princess Leia, who is played by Carrie Fisher, and Princess Leia, essentially you could say, is still the damsel in distress. She's still the person to get kidnapped. She's still the person who they have to go and save. But I like how Carrie Fisher plays this character. She's very like stand-up-ish for herself. She's strong. She's not willing to back down easily, like when they torture her and Vader's trying to get information from where the rebels are. She won't really give that up, and even her home planet gets destroyed, and she's still strong. When they find her, Luke and Han, she talks back, and especially with Han, she's not the timid girl. Like, I like those qualities about her. I like that even though she's a princess, she's willing to get in there, she's willing to get down and dirty. Very attractive to young Carrie Fisher. We have to talk about the man, right? The man himself, Darth Vader. There's so many reasons why this is one of, if not the greatest movie villain of all time. Darth Vader, just between his look and that design and how imposing he is, and I love the suit. I love the technology that goes into it. But the scenes of him being so intimidating, I couldn't imagine seeing this as a kid. In the scenes where he grabs the guy by the neck, his own bare hands crushes his neck, you hear bones break, and he kills him. PG movie, and you see Vader just kill a guy with his hands. Later on, you get a scene where they're all around the table, and the one guy is talking smack to Vader, and Vader just force chokes him from across the room, and that's where you see his strength. That's where you see his brute force and what exactly he's capable of. And he's intimidating. He's scary. He is. And that fact that he could, if he wanted to, kill everybody in this room, I love that. But the voice by James Earl Jones is perfection. You really can't think of anybody else voicing this character. Just the commanding voice. That voice was important, and that's what makes this villain iconic. But The John Williams score. Speaking of iconic, you can't think of this movie, you can't think of this franchise without that Star Wars theme. It works on so many levels. It fits this movie in so many scenes, and there are scenes where it enhances the character moments, like with Luke, or the battle at the end where the rebels have to fly in there and attack at the Death Star. It's great action, it's great suspense with this score, with this theme. There's so many great things about this movie. I know that people say that The Empire Strikes Back is their favorite Star Wars movie, and I get that. For me too, it is like, yeah, that's the best of the best. But this movie is not far behind. It's not like, it's a very close second. There's so many things being introduced to this world, and the awe and everything about this first movie is great. I love Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of A New Hope? Do you love it as much as I do? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!